Hello everybody, this is Brett here, and I wish to discuss about Zodiac and Earl Van Best and making a wild claim which may be true and I do not know. That Earl Van Best, not only that he is the Zodiac, that he faked his own death and even was alive up until, I could say 2018, and I do not know. But do I have anything to show either one is true? Okay, first off, I just want to quickly talk about these two cases here. This guy's a Melbourne bank robber. He killed a man, as says, and this is the guy he killed and stole his identity, and he lived under this guy's identity. This is the guy who is the bank robber. He's bad, and this has happened in Australia. He's the guy who killed because he looked similar and used his identity, I think, for over 2 years until he got caught. And the second story is this German, she could have been on Instagram or TikTok or both. She found someone who looked identical to her, this killed her to take her identity as well. And I do know other cases. So, as I like to say here, that when the 340 got solved, as I said, in the middle here is David Oranchak's pivots. EV Junior ZO is in the keys. It gets solved and we get Earl Van Best's name here, up here in the exact pivot spot. And once again, Gary Stewart, love him or hate him, fact is this, VEKH spells best, Van, ZO and JR on the other cipher also comes off that, if people want to acknowledge that or not. And as I said again, you put 408 keys in the 340 cipher and also his name appears again. And these are the locations, and you can do it yourself because it's easy to do so. So what are the odds of that happening? So you may be asking, what can I present that Earl Van Best, not only a Zodiac, but faked his own death and whatever. Also, I was driving my car, and I'll say that God signed this old man who looked like Zodiac, and I'm cleaning his house, and I'm thinking, oh yes, that's to do with, Zodiac, I'm on the right track with this, and so forth. But then I got suspicious, like, what if he actually faked his own death? And another one is that as I was driving a car, I'm driving downwards, and a car's coming this way on the roundabout, and God signed this car, and I looked intently, and until the car turned, I saw Best West Driving School on there. And not only acknowledging Best in regards to Zodiac, but Best West, like, did I actually see Earl Van Best Jr.? I do not know, but it did look like him. It was crazy, so I do not know, but I'm presenting things to show you. So what we are going to first off establish here is a few things quickly. Again, the Best Wishes writer says again here, missing E with above the word best here, an idiom, I do not wish to have my name in the papers, but he has, that's a clue, and ironically going by Best Wishes with that key name. And my other little one here, and ironically, this is part of the DB Cooper case that the FBI in the the files on Zodiac they released has the DB Cooper letters, and here you can easily see E and VN. To me, that's saying Earl Van. It doesn't mean he's DB Cooper, but what I want to show here, this says I will not give you my name. And again, if you see the Halloween card, it has got a reverse N. And also the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letter has got mirrored letters. So all I did was turn that Z into the N, and you got E Van straight away after I will not give you my name. And so let's proceed. The next step I want to take you is to this card here. This is sent in to 1991 or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but the author deliberately made it look like Zodiac. Again, underlined the word never, and like in the A Citizens card, ever is underlined, but also argue E Van. But I'm not there yet. Stay tuned. And so another weird thing about this card is if you see it says, "Dear Sir, who EV," and then "ever you are." So again, was this a spelling error or a reference to Earl Van? But remember, he's supposed to be dead like 6 years before this card is sent, so thus ruling him out. But there's some weird things going on here. And number one, get a load of this. It says, "You thought I was dead? No way." So once again, like, is he alluding to something totally different? You know, like, why would he say that? Why would you think that? You think I am dead? And also, this has got the characteristics in some other ways. I was noticing there's an F, you know, like, there's all weird little things here that, again, you could go down a lot of rabbit holes, but for the sake of getting straight to the point, I better stay on track. But again, I thought you were dead, so it's like, you know, you don't want my name in the paper, that is, I will not give you my name, but I have, and you thought I was dead. Why? Because I killed someone and took their identity? No way. You thought I was dead, and no one will know that unless only Earl himself throwing this out there. But you say, what else do you have? And here we are. This very unique thing, in my opinion, that I noticed with this letter. Okay, this is sort of a bit of a hard one, but I also established that the use of uppercase R's where there should be a lowercase, you know, even though it's got capital M, but smaller E's, V, and then this uppercase R. But there's, like here, majority using uppercase R here. And where else is there? And whatever, recitated, whatever that word is, like capital R at the start, and that there. So now we've got this person using capital R's where there really shouldn't be capital R's. And here we've got the word here, the strange here got murdered. We're using a capital R plus a lowercase r. So that is key number one. And here's another one, is that welfare. Again, another capital R where there should be a lowercase r. So what is significant about this? And it is this letter here, the FBI Hoover letter. That this letter, to my knowledge, was kept secret until the Freedom of Information Act releases Zodiac files 5 years after that card was sent. So that letter writer should have had no way of knowing about this letter or the capital R's in it. We've got a capital R here for enforcement. And the whole letter seems to be using uppercase R's in its writing. And even like at the start, Edgar, this person. And if you want to go one little step further, I hope this is his thing. This is like Earl Van Best Jr. when he was 15 years old. His social security form, he filled this out. He used a capital R there and two smaller E's there, even way back then. And on top of that, like the junior bit has got the capital R where there should have been a smaller r. So this is a pattern, and we've got September here. Get a load of this. Again, September, writes it all there, and but then uppercases the last letter. So now we've established that this 1990 card has got this unique thing, besides trying to make it look like Zodiac, but these capital R's that the Hoover FBI letter writer, and I'm going to link if you haven't been following my little trail, has got these capital R's, and Earl Van Best Jr. at the age of 15. I'm showing you 3 examples here. He's done exactly that. Okay. And so we are going to go where? Yes, we'll click on this one. And so here, that as someone else, this is someone else's work, this section here, Donna Lass card looks similar to the FBI Zodiac letter here, and someone pieced that together. But these are my findings here, that Earl Van Best wrote Francisco 3 times, so these are 3 different Franciscos, with cursive writing with gaps in the writing. You see here, like gaps, and I just gapped it to show what I'm trying to show. Francisco again, gapped, gapped. The Donna Lass card, Guardian, gapped. Donna, gapped. Grange or Strange, gapped. And then to the Hoover letter, gaps. And we'll just go back to the Hoover letter to look at some more gaps, okay? Because there are a few more in there. So on top of this, so now we've got Earl Van Best Jr. with capital R's and putting gaps in cursive writing. And as I said, if you get this word killer here and overlaid it with Judith, you'll be surprised how they all run into each other, but that's for a different story. We're looking for gaps. So let's see here. So again, that's the enforcement gap. You could argue there's a gap there, like with matter, cooperation, California, and we've got even believe with the gap. So this is another writing habit that Earl Van Best Jr. has incorporated. And so that's my pieces of this puzzle. And so we'll go on to something a bit more unusual here. That what are the odds of Earl Van Best being D.B. Cooper? Like, and I'm going to say another thing, that God seemed to assign that the money found in the Banks of D.B. Cooper case was buried deliberately. He signed that to me, and only D.B. Cooper knows the truth in God. So, but we don't care. Anyhow, this mail here, we'll have a quick look at this first. This arrived at the Ariel Tavern, where they were holding the D.B. Cooper event. And it's got very strange writings, you could argue, like using a capital L at the end. But one characteristic I like to point out is this flat-sided 0 here, used here. And we'll just have another quick look here. We'll get back to that flat-sided 0. But once again, sorry I couldn't make it Cooper. So again, it doesn't, like, put it this way, that Earl Van Best could have written the D.B. Cooper letters and still not being D.B. Cooper, make no doubt. So I want to just have a look here about characteristics. If I did have anything to show, but yeah, I was just looking at this T. I remain anonymous, and just thinking how he did it, sort of made it look like a J, and something like that. I don't know if that's any good. So, as I like to say, that here, back with the Melvin Belli letter, did Zodiac put a L inside the A? As I said, the W in new looks like a V and an N. If you see, that's very not a W, that's like a V and an N. If you can see, an Earl Van is written there. Paul Avery, stick the L inside his name, which should not be there. You have Earl written in plain sight. Okay, we'll go to the best wishes card. Let's see if I can quickly see if I can find it. Not there. So once again, as I said, the Tosca letter, according to Tom Voigt, this is legit. I do believe it, and as I like to say, I believe it's a spreadsheet from Sydney Holt. It says DNA sample obtained, not authentic letter. But again, on the show, they said, oh, they got a DNA hit on the outside of one of the other envelopes. And so if they did that, and then she got one from this, that did not match that, she would write DNA sample obtained and not authentic letter. And I do believe these are scores of the amount of cells that I learnt. You need 50 cells. And as I like to point out here, these three letters that with Zodiac, like the not Melvin Belli, the Toschi letter and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letter are sent 8 days apart. 8 days apart. And although these stamps were not released at the same time, but they form a set and a theme. And that was their design to do that. And so this person claiming to be Zodiac sent these letters in with 3 of the 4 of the stamps. And as someone speculated, is there a missing letter that has never been found and probably never will be? And so, and this is the thing with the Toschi letter. They say, like, Toschi got a few accused of writing it because, oh, he is mentioned by name. But ironically, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letter also mentions another police person's by name. And also this letter has Zodiac characteristics in regards to heavy pressing down on the ink, if you can see here. And also, as I like to say, that what's the odds of 2 different letters claiming to be Zodiac, writing, like, play the same way with the Y's, 2 strokes, but also talking about who will play me in a movie. So this does not say it is Zodiac, but bumps it up that the same letter writer has written both. And as I like to show my findings as I was trying to solve the 340 and coming up with equal letter skipping ideas, again, I noticed the word boy appear. It appears in the 408 and it appears in the 340, especially, as I said, that should be a B and that should be a Y. So the green becomes B in the Y by the boy. This square here is 408Y. That spells boy, by, and then on top of that, here with the word boy, that he's used these symbols to represent this pattern here. So why would a forger write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and not know about this pattern? And I am the one who discovered it. So if I am correct, only I myself and Zodiac knew about this pattern because I found it and I linked it to this letter. And thus, if that letter is correct, so the Toschi letter quite well could be also correct. And another thing is, like, again, he wrote by the boy quite a few times here. As I said, that's 1, 2, 3, that's 408 O key with a dot added. That's 408 key as is for O as well. And reverse D also is 408 O. So what are the odds is 1, but as I said, it's reversed in the 340. But then we've got an exactor with a dot, and an exactor that is reflipped back around, but all 3 were O's, and they're all next to this by. And then you go by the boy again. So he's like by boy, even here, by boy. You see there's a B here. Spells it out down here, spells it here, spells it there, spells it here. That reverse F here, as I said, that's the B and the Y. This spells sun. S-O-N with 408 keys, again, by the sun. And so, and then we'll go to, as I like to highlight, I find this my great find as well, that these are the errors in the 340, that the word fan, which is the word fun, and slaver is errored. Ironically, ZO equals RA in the solve keys, and then they are the 2 errors. So RA is ZO, so there's the solve keys. And as I said, you come across here that you stick this in the 408 and you got RA, so RA equals ZO, and the word fun, the reverse F equals B. The N key equals E, the U equals S, that equals T, and so we got RA best, and I claim this was by Earl. You remember that B and the Y? So I claim this was by Earl because the best wishes key had reverse Q with different keys. So I kept the R, I kept that E, I used that as the 408A, which it was, and used that as the Earl to go by Earl. So fun, ZO, Earl best there. And so you're asking where, how, which, where, how and why, and this is what I'm talking about. The best wishes key here, FKLM. It was on the show Hunting the Zodiac. David Aranchak and whoever stated, oh, but we do not know who sent this in. But this is why, in my opinion, this is strong enough to why Zodiac is the person who sent this in. Remember FKLM. We'll go to original picture of the 340 cipher. We are going to go to the reverse Q, and we've got FK and symbol L for the 408. And then the other reverse Q has got the M. And so before the 340 even arrived, we've got FKL. You can either use that as an L or that symbol L, FKL, and even that's reverse F again surrounding that. And again, this reverse Q has got the M, and I believe the Q means queen, 14 kid, love, marriage, and FKLM, and that's just a little thing that he did. And so, and that's why I am very sure that Earl Van Best Jr. is indeed the Zodiac. And ironically, he got married in Reno with Judith Chandler got married there. And once again, like in this section here, as I like to show, this section here is exactly where EARL, Earl, and BTS, Earl Best, comes out, ZO right there. And if you look at that W, like on the W on the Melvin Bell I knew, it looks like an N, like that's looks like a V and an N, and it's a distorted W. So not only that, it's a W, but it's Earl Van Best getting spelt out using that method there. And so, and what else do we have here? As I said, there's just so many things, and I am so confident Earl Van Best Jr. is the Zodiac, and I'll say God's also signed it, and I'm trying to fix it wrong. They railroaded Gary Stewart. Gary, and I'm taking his word for it, said that he proved that his dad lived 2 doors up at the time that Paul Stein was murdered, and there is no concrete proof to when he left the country, but his timeline matches when he comes back with the exorcist letter, matches it to the T. And all we've got is hearsay of a second-hand story from his estranged daughter when she was probably 1 or 3, when about a father getting information from her mother, getting dates mixed up, in my opinion, because there's no way that is logically not Earl Van Best. So I'll end it here. I had some other thoughts I was going to present. But again, watch my other videos. I believe I've made a strong case. Again, we're after the Toschi DNA profile. Like again, this card states that it exists. So have a good day, people, and stay sane.